Hello guys, welcome to my channel. The less is more. So today we will discuss an editorial from Indian Express, and today the topic is little bit different, and let's start an editorial directly. The title of the editorial is A Stealthy Spread. An ICMR-backed study has thrown light on the worrying proportions assumed by lifestyle-related disease in the country. So, this topic is lifestyle-related disease. Published last week in the medical journal, the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology. The decade-long study, spearheaded by Dr. Mohan's Diabetic Specialist Center, is the biggest representative estimate of metabolic disorders in India. It reveals that more than a tenth of the people in the country have diabetes, 35% have hypertension, and 28% have high cholesterol levels. The burden of this disorder is higher in urban areas, but people in rural centers are increasingly becoming vulnerable to metabolic disease, especially diabetes. So, this is mostly an urban disease, but the rural people is also being vulnerable to diabetes. Okay, there is, for instance, almost no rural urban divide when it comes to pre-diabetes. Okay, so no rural urban divide for pre-diabetes. More than 60% of pre-diabetic people in India end up having the disease. The study is warning that the country's already serious diabetes burden could take a turn for the worst in the next 5 years. Should be taken seriously by the country's healthcare sector. So it can turn, or it can become more worst in the upcoming 5 years. So country's healthcare sector should take this consideration seriously. Most non-communicable disease, including diabetes, were earlier associated with older age group, but unhealthy diets, inadequate physical activity, exposure to tobacco, smoke and alcohol abuse mean that raise blood pressure, increase blood glucose and obesity have begun to show up among the relatively young. So what happens is, due to unhealthy diet, then inadequate physical activity, and exposure to tobacco and smoke. Okay, what does it have effect on? Raise blood pressure, increase glucose, blood glucose and obesity. Okay, several studies have shown that close to 20% of diabetics in the country are below the age of 45. 20% is below 45 years. And nearly 45% of the people with the disease are not senior citizen. 45% are not senior citizen. See guys, the statistics is very dangerous. These studies have pointed out that the lifestyle related disease is aggravated by poor awareness. What is the reason? Poor awareness, especially in rural areas. In 2019, a collaborative study by the Public Health Foundation of India and research institutes in US, UK and Germany revealed that only half of these ailing from diabetes in the 15 to 50 age group were aware of their ailment. So in the recent study, it was found that the half of those ailing from diabetes, so who are suffering from diabetes between 15 to 50 age group, were aware of their ailment. So they are not even aware of their disease. Last year, the National NCD Monitoring Survey revealed that 45% of diabetics in country were aware of their health condition, and only 14% had their blood sugar under control. So this paragraph we can have many facts, okay, even contain some reasons and its effects, okay. So we have seen that in the survey 45% of the diabetics were aware of their health condition. Only 45% people are aware. It is not just ending here. Only 45% of 15% of these 45% are taking it seriously and have blood sugar under control. The National Health Mission does recognize that the country is experiencing a rapid health transition with NCDs, including lifestyle diseases. So, National Health Mission, you can say this is a government initiative paragraph. Recognize the country is experiencing a rapid health transition with NCDs, including lifestyle disease such as diabetes, surpassing the burden of communicable disease in the past decade. So, the NCD is surpassing the communicable diseases, the burden of communicable diseases in last 10 years. However, the healthcare sector has not always been alive to the task of bringing about behavioral changes. So, health sector is not alive to the task of bringing what? Behavioral changes. The NCD monitoring survey, for instance, revealed that the country lacks adequate counseling facilities. What are the challenges? Adequate counseling facilities for diabetics. These civets and the alarm bells rung by the Lancet study should be heeded urgently. Lifestyle diseases carry an economic cost. The WHO estimates they could cost India $6 trillion by 2030. So, what would be the implication? It would have economic cost. How much? $6 trillion. So, in this editorial, we have seen that how the lifestyle disease and non-communicable disease are increasing in our country, and mostly that is diabetes, okay, and even mostly it is a urban disease, but even rural areas are also being vulnerable to the diabetes. And there are some facts like it is 45% of the diabetic people are not from senior citizen, and only 45% are aware of their sufferings or disease, and 50% of those are having their blood sugar under control, okay. So, in National Health Mission, there is they have recognized these non-communicable diseases, and the reason for this increasing is the country lacks adequate counseling facilities. And what would be the implication? It would have economic cost for India, okay. So, this was for today, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Signing off for the day.